to Bet on It. Today we have a special AFC preview for you. I am Kelly Stewart. Let's bring in my guys, Joe Raineri and Marco D'Angelo. All right, boys, AFC, we're going to rattle through these. I want to hear your favorite prop bets, your favorite futures bets, some season win totals. And we're going to start off with the East. I've got the WagerTalk odds screen open, and the Buffalo Bills, sizable favorite here. The Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots, both in lockstep at plus 475. And the New York Jets. Oh, the poor Jets. What are we going to do with those guys? Joe, I'm going to go to you first. Tell me what you like about this division, what you're looking to fade, and any bets you're wanting to make.
Got to bring up the Jets, right? So as a lifelong Jet fan, you got to take – we haven't even gotten a game, and that's all right. They suck. We're waiting till next year. I say that every year here. But listen, I think the AFC East is interesting because you've got a Patriots team that dominated the division for, what, 2 decades with Tom Brady? But boy, oh boy, what have you done for me lately here? The thought of Matt Patricia – yes, Matt Patricia calling and Joe Judge calling offensive plays scares the life out of me here. So I think Belichick's going to have to be more involved in the offense than he has in, well, 2 decades here. Not buying what the Patriots got rolling. They open up against Miami. Miami's the big question mark. And although a lot of people are very high on what they've got going on this year with Tua and Hill and now the running game, the new coach, some down here aren't nearly as high as others. In fact, a lot of people think it might not even be Tua starting by week 6 or 7. That's how much animosity and how many questions people have about this Miami Dolphins team. The one team I don't have a question about is the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. So much like Tom Brady's dominance for 2 decades, it's Josh Allen's turn to dominate this division. They are ready to take the next step. There is no more excuses for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think they're going to need any. I think this is the Bills' division to run away with. I don't think they're going to have nearly a tough time that some people also seem to think they're going to have getting past the well, it's the Jets. Everyone gets past the Jets. But the Patriots, the Dolphins, too many question marks for me. I am very confident that the Buffalo Bills, and we were just in Vegas there, Cal, a couple of weeks ago, and those were the first bets that we made, was the Bills to win the AFC East. That was number 1, and of course the division and the Super Bowl. But as far as this division goes, it's Bills, it's Dolphins, it's Patriots, it's Jets in that order. But I don't think it's going to be nearly as close with the difference between the Bills and whoever finishes second.
Marco, I'm in agreement with Joe. Unfortunately, I did not make any bets in this division because I think it is the Bills' division to run away with. They're over $2 in almost every single book that I've seen. They are the odds-on Super Bowl favorite as well, but at just 6 to 1, that's not enough for me to lock up my money all season long. What are your thoughts on the AFC East?
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is Buffalo's division to win. We go back to last year. It came down to a coin flip, and they lost the coin flip in that game against Kansas City, or they're the ones moving on and going on to the Super Bowl most likely. They get to the Super Bowl this year. There's no value in betting them to win the division. Yeah, it's easy money, but I'm not going to tie up that much money for the year on a favorite. At least give me some money back. And where I'm going to go, rather than win the Super Bowl, let's go. They got to get there first. Let's take them to win the AFC. That's where I think the value's at. You can see this price, around town, different prices. I've seen plus 375. I like them to get to the Super Bowl. Why? Because they're going to have to go through Buffalo in January to get to the Super Bowl, whoever it is. Everybody talks about the AFC West, how good it is this year. And yeah, it is. It's probably the best division in the AFC. But they're going to beat each other up. And what's that mean? The home field advantage is not going to come from the AFC West. It's going to come from the Buffalo Bills in this division, and they will have home field. And I don't know if you've ever been to Buffalo in January. It's not a fun place to go. And you, especially if one of these West Coast teams or a dome team has to play the playoff game there. So for me, it's all about the Bills, the best value, take them to win the AFC and be the representative in the Super Bowl. Then we've got Buffalo in the Super Bowl at plus money. That'll give us opportunities to do some creative things with whatever the line comes out, whoever they're playing. So that's how I see the AFC East. No sense wasting time on the other teams because, as Joe said, there's a lot of people high on this team, that team. You know what? You have to be high to think anybody but Buffalo's winning this division.
Marco and Joe, and of course, I'm in agreement. Don't overthink this one. It is Bills or pass for this trio. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but before I let you guys go, please hit the subscribe button, that little tiny bell, maybe give us a like, jump in the comments section. All helps us out on YouTube.
Awesome.
Isn't it refreshing when free really means free? Whether you're a WagerTalk customer, a Sports Memo customer, a fan of our videos, or even if you're not a customer at all, everyone can get this week's edition of Gold Sheet for free. Enjoy write-ups and stat logs on every college football game this week to see the new and improved Gold Sheet layout for this season. To download, log into Gold Sheet's website using username free@goldsheet.com and the password free. No coupon, phone number, or email address is required. It's that simple. Come see why Gold Sheet has been this country's premier football betting newsletter for over 6 decades.
Welcome back to Bet On It. We are cranking through these AFC teams. That's right, Marco already alluded to it. Top to bottom, the best division in football this year, at least in my opinion, is the AFC West. Full disclosure, I have a ticket on the Broncos at 25-1 to win the Super Bowl because I thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to be their new quarterback. Well, I was wrong, but they did get Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. Are the Chiefs going to have a down year? Rumblings throughout Kansas City might be true. We're going to find out how the Las Vegas Raiders are going to fare. And oh yeah, how could we forget about my fantasy football quarterback, Justin Herbert? Marco, I'm going to let you go first on this division. There is a lot to unpack here.
Absolutely. And you got to start with the Kansas City Chiefs because they have been the dominant factor of the AFC West for how long? Now, for them to be consistent, two things are going to have to happen. They need to get more of a running game. I know Patrick Mahomes, all-world quarterback, but he's going to lose one of his big targets this year. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill. Oh, wait a minute. They signed somebody. Oh, yeah. Who was it? Juju. Instagram Smith-Schuster is in the house. We'll see how that works out whenever he starts doing tap dances on the logo at midfield and different things and all of the shenanigans that he likes to do off the field. But he is a threat. We'll see if he can replace Hill. But let's look at the rest of the division. They have closed the gap. No question about it. The Chargers, they missed the playoffs last year, and they don't have anybody to blame but themselves. And I love the new wave coaches that love to get the mathematics out. It's 4th and 2. We go for it. The numbers say it's a high percentage play. Well, how many games did that cost you last year with the Chargers when them doing it? I'm all for being aggressive, but you know what? You got to have game flow, and you got to understand where you're at on the field. And sometimes the risk is not worth the reward, and it blew up on them. All they had to do was have a tie at the end of the last game of the season, and they were going to the playoffs. They screwed that up against the Raiders. They are the team that can make the biggest jump, but there's really not a lot of value because a lot of people feel that way in the price. Then there is the Raiders. Devontae Adams. Yes, that is going to make this offense explosive. They've got a ton of weapons. Last year, they were banged up. They didn't have a solid running game. And of course, the Raiders always have a problem defensively. If this offense is as good as it looks on paper, they're going to make the defense better just by being more efficient on offense. The defense won't be on the field as long. The Raiders might be the sleeper in the division if you want to take a shot on somebody to win at a price. That would be the way I would go. And then there's going to be a lot of love for the Broncos because Russell Wilson. The narrative has been for the Broncos for, it seems like, the last several years, ever since Peyton Manning got them a Super Bowl, that they were only one player away. They had a good defense. They had offensive pieces, but they didn't have a quarterback. We've seen quarterbacks come in here left and right. Nobody has got the job done. This, without question, is the best quarterback that they've had in here. Will Russell Wilson get the job done? He's going to make them better, but I don't think that all the pieces around him are as good as people think. So I'm not as high on Denver as other people are. The Chiefs might squeak it out, but if I did anything in this division, just because of the price, I would take a flyer on the Raiders simply because they present the best value.
All right, Marco's trying to hit a home run with his hometown team. Joe, I don't even know what to make of this. I want to bet the under in the Chiefs season win total from our good buddy VR. I feel like I'm a little late there. And I don't want to sound like a Chiefs hater, but I would love to take that Patrick Mahomes under, what are we looking at? 4,650 and a half passing yards. But again, this guy just obliterates defenses. What do you think? We're going to see some regression from the Chiefs this year?
I think we're going to see a bloodbath in the AFC West. I think they're going to devour one another. It reminds me a lot of like we say it every year in basketball, college hoops, right? The Big Ten just devours one another. The AFC, they devour. That's what's going to happen here. I mean, the Chargers went out and bought themselves a defense. They went out to buy themselves a defense specifically to stop Mahomes in this spot here. Now, Tyreek Hill, I know there's a lot been made about, Tyreek's gone, Mahomes. Listen, I'm telling you right now, it's a known fact. It's something I always go by. Wide receivers don't make quarterbacks, guys. Quarterbacks make wide receivers. Devontae Adams is about to figure that out this year, and I can tell you right now, so is Tyreek Hill. So as long as Mahomes is slinging it behind there, as long as we've got Andy Reid, and for the most part, that offensive line is pretty good. The defense, they got the pieces they need. It is so hard to bet against Kansas City. And I get it, Russell Wilson and Denver. I can't figure out what Denver is going to be. Anybody that tells you they know for a fact Denver is just going to somehow miraculously with Russell Wilson run away with this division, pass it. Give me a hit because I have no idea how you know that. I don't. What I do know is Mahomes and Reid are the class of the division until somebody beats them. And the Chargers think they're ready to do that. They went out and geared up to beat them. Whether or not they do it, I don't know. But what I am sure of is that the Kansas City Chiefs, they are the top of this division until otherwise, Cal, until I see it and believe it, that they're not in the AFC title game at Arrowhead. I'm still back in the Chiefs. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Cal.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. It's been really hard to try to step in front of that train. Not sure. I got about 10 days to make that decision, and I don't know if I've got the guts to do it. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, that's right, we've got a new segment for you guys. I cannot wait for you to find out what it is.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Welcome to our new segment, Prop Shop. That's right. We've got Andy Lang at Bump Sports on Twitter from WagerTalk. You can check him out at the show Prop It Up. Ariel Epstein from the MLB Network at Ariel Epstein on Twitter. She also does the MLB show with our good buddy Joe Raineri. Excited to have both of you guys on here. Not so excited for what Andy told me about my favorite prop before the show, but I'm going to kick it to Andy. Let him know what we're expecting from this segment each and every week on Bet On It.
Well, we're going to try and get everyone ready for the weekend and how they can profit off of the props betting market. This is a very new market to some people. To others, we've been doing this for a long time. There's a lot of opportunities. I feel like the books just have a really tough time putting out the proper lines on all of the props. If you search hard enough, you're going to find value. You're going to find some great plays. This is very different from the spreads and the totals where the books can hammer these lines down perfectly. You're going to find some real holes in the market, and we're here to help you take advantage and increase that bankroll through the prop market.
I love to hear it because props is a foreign idea to me. I've always been just that size and total. So hoping we can bring you guys some really good insight. Ariel Epstein, I know you said you didn't love a lot in terms of futures props, but please tell me how you go through your handicapping process in terms of props.
When I go through the NFL handicapping process in the props market, I eliminate passing yards. Well, passing yards are okay, but rushing yards, receiving yards, those are out. They're too public. Rushing plus receiving's better. Rush attempts, pass attempts is my favorite. Defensive tackle props also for the total tackles, another market that's great, especially for prime time. Defensive props aren't really where people tend to look because they're not the flashy player. You can find edges in those markets. Kelly, I just can't look to some of the more public markets because everyone's going to be on them. I also like to make sure that when I'm handicapping the props throughout the week, that I kind of keep tabs on the trajectory of the prop. Like if a passing yards prop ends up going up throughout the week or down throughout the week, why? And try to find that answer. I look for defenses that are top 10. That's where I look for my unders. I look for defenses bottom 10. That's where I look for my overs. Then I go game by game throughout the season. I will never go off averages, always game by game because matchups are really important.
I love to hear all this great insight. And apparently I am a square bear when it comes to the prop market. But Andy Lang, I'm going to let you go first. What is one of your favorite props for this NFL season?
Well, I live in Indianapolis, and so I follow all the teams in my division, and I can't tell you how much I'm out on the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill this year. So I'm going to take under 3,600.5 passing yards. The Titans, listen, they're a run-first team. We know that. Derrick Henry comes into the season fully healthy. Tannehill's 33 years old. He has a lot of wear and tear on his body. And last year, he only went over this total by 134 yards, and he played all 17 games. So when you have 3,734 passing yards in a season where Derrick Henry missed 9 games, and now they lose A.J. Brown, they lose Julio Jones, and they replace him with Robert Woods and Austin Hooper, that's a pretty significant drop-off in talent. The Titans also drafted a rookie quarterback. I'm not even sure Ryan Tannehill makes it through the season as the starter. And as always, when you have these season totals, if you get any injury, you're in good shape to cash the under. I don't see Tannehill getting over this total. They get to play the Texans and the Jaguars twice, which means those are 4 games with huge Derrick Henry numbers. I see Tannehill not lasting the year as a starter if he struggles early, but even if he does, an injury cashes this under. And even if he does play 17 games, I don't think he gets here. It's a run-first team. Give me Ryan Tannehill under 3,600.5 passing yards.
Okay, I don't hate that one. That makes a lot of sense. I am too going to take a passing yards, and then I'm going to let Andy just absolutely obliterate it now that Ariel told me I am a public bettor. Over at the Barstool Sportsbook, Jameis Winston, 3,600.
Come on, remember the number, Kelly. Remember the number.
Current line was. I love this New Orleans Saints team. And this is where I'm looking in terms of the prop market, right? I want them correlated with my bets and my other futures bets. I have the Saints to win the NFC South. I really think Chris Olave is going to break out as a rookie this year. And now we've got Alvin Kamara possibly not being suspended at all. I know Michael Thomas is back and forth on the pup list, but we're going to find out. Bottom line, Jameis Winston has a ton of targets. Now, what's my favorite thing about Jameis? You never know what you're going to get. Is this man going to throw a pick 6 or a touchdown pass? And that's where this one, I think, is built into the line. If you look at a lot of these other, what I would call A-list, right? Not elite, but A-list quarterbacks. I think Jameis Winston's a B-list quarterback. They're all in the mid-4,000s, as Andy Lang just mentioned, with Ryan Tannehill. And this one seems very low. If Jameis can stay healthy, I have no qualms about cashing this ticket.
Yikes. Okay, where do I start? So Kelly likes the over because you never know what you're going to get. He's depending on a hurt wide receiver
I
on
said
and off the
that
pup list.
is the stigma
But don't
with
worry.
Jameis. That is Jameis'
Don't worry,
stigma.
we
and I
got a
think we
rookie
got
wide
past that.
receiver coming in. We got a rookie wide receiver coming in, and I don't think the running back's going to be suspended this year. All right,
Well,
Kelly.
the reason why I brought up Alvin Kamara is because he can also catch the ball. We know that he's more than a running back. I think he's kind of like this versatile slot running back, if you will.
Kelly, I love you. I do not love this pick. Listen, in order for him to catch this, he's got to play 17 games and average 214 yards. He didn't complete over 20 passes one time in 6 games last year. He only got over 214 yards 3 times out of 6 games. And listen, their defense is fantastic. This is what this team is built on. I think they're going to utilize the run game a lot. They get the Falcons, they get the Panthers. Those teams should give up a ton of rushing yards to Kamara. And it seems like this offense is built more to prevent him from throwing interceptions as opposed to letting it air out. Shaky wide receivers with the health of Michael Thomas and a rookie wide receiver. And listen, Kelly, this is the big thing when you're taking season futures. I like the unders. I lean more towards him. He's coming off of an injury, and if he misses any games, this over is pretty much dead. I think you got an uphill battle on this. I'm pulling for you, but this one makes me nervous.
Listen, I understand the risks that are here, but I've already
This is the most Kelly in Vegas prop I have ever heard. It's contrarian. People are scared that Jameis Winston is going to get hurt. That would be my fear. It's why I stay away from a lot of season-long props, because you're hurt one game, your prop potentially is out the window. Jameis Winston could have a great season airing the ball out. You're talking about a quarterback 2 years ago that led the league in passing yards, also led the league in interceptions. That one scares me too. It doesn't shock me though, because the Saints have been the team that ever since I'm pretty sure the season ended, Kelly has been on. Kelly's been ready to back the Saints since February of 2021. It's no shocker. Kel, best of luck to you. I'm off of passing yards props for the season long though.
No, listen, you guys nailed it. These are season-long props. There is a lot of variance here in terms of if you missed just one game. And listen, I've seen people cash plenty of tickets where a quarterback did sit out one way or another. I'm obviously not cheering for any unders that I bet for injury, but that doesn't hurt, unfortunately, in the big scheme of things. And just like any other futures bets, and why I've avoided them for years, is because you are giving the book your money for 20 plus weeks in the NFL, and you've really got to make sure you've done your homework. That's why I'm just dipping my toe in this year, just a little bit, little half unit plays here and there, and they're all correlated. I will have the rest of my plays up on TikTok. Yes, I said that. That makes me nauseous. Ariel Epstein, you're the TikTok queen. I've seen several of them over the last couple of weeks. You love it. It's in your wheelhouse. Maybe I'll just pay you to do mine. What is your favorite bet for this NFL season?
My favorite futures bet in the props market would be backing the Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins. You can get him to have 7 or more touchdowns at plus 105. You can get him to have 10 or more touchdowns at plus 260. J.K. Dobbins had 9 touchdowns in 2020, his rookie season. He was the 4th string running back. Mark Ingram, I have the list here. 2020 feels like forever ago. Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill. Justice Hill was the name I was forgetting. Those 3 running backs were in front of J.K. Dobbins in 2020, and he still had 9 touchdowns. Dobbins didn't take a snap in the regular season last year. He got hurt. He's back this season. Dobbins has been active on Twitter telling everybody to shut the hell up because he's fine and he's going to play this year. He's the number 1 running back, and the second string's Gus Edwards. He's out the first 4 weeks of the season. Who's going to get all those carries? It's J.K. Dobbins. I love it. 7 or more touchdowns for plus 105 or plus 260 for 10 or more touchdowns for J.K. Dobbins. It's also correlated because I love the Ravens.
I love that. And I got talked into doing what they call a 0 quarterback way of drafting with fantasy. This year, my partner brought me all of this data and said, I think we go wide receiver heavy, get a stud quarterback. And we got J.K. Dobbins. And I'm like, oh. So to hear that Ariel Epstein also likes his prop over this year, that makes me very, very happy. Andy, I know that you have one more prop for our viewers before we let you guys go. What is it?
Well, if you went zero quarterback, you could wait to the end and take a terrible quarterback like Jameis Winston. Okay, so my favorite.
Okay. I want you to know, first of all, I lobbied very hard for Jameis this year as our second string quarterback. I'm going to tell you this right now. Jameis, fresh off the LASIK, we're gonna set a line here. Andy, I want you to tell me how many interceptions you think Jameis Winston is going to throw this year.
Oh man, how many interceptions? I think he's going to miss a couple games. Give me 18.
I'll take the under all day.
Shocking.
I will
shocking.
text you
All
on
right.
the side.
Shocking.
We're
getting her a
Kelly
jersey, Andy. We're
and
getting her a jersey
I'm
for
going to do a
Jameis.
Jameis Winston interception tracker all year long on Twitter. And I'm going to tag Andy in it every single time my guy has a great game, including that night game against the Bucs that is already circled on my list. Andy, now that you're done talking trash, what is your favorite prop bet for this season?
Okay, I'm going into the rushing touchdowns market as well. Ariel, I do love the J.K. Dobbins one. I had that one circled. I'm going to go with A.J. Dillon over 5.5 rushing touchdowns. Dillon's going to get a lot of work inside the 10-yard line. Devontae Adams and Valdez-Scantling is gone. That's 14 touchdowns from last year. And we know the chemistry that Rodgers had with Adams. So they're going to be looking to try and fill that void once they get inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. He had 5 rushing touchdowns last year, but they were all in the last half of the season when he got much more involved with the offense. He scored a touchdown in the playoff game. And Aaron Jones, we expect to catch more passes. I think Dillon is going to see a lot more of the ground game. He's a big back. Aaron Rodgers and the coaching staff trust him as he's had a lot of inside the 5-yard line carries. I like the over 5.5 rushing touchdowns for him. I think he gets there pretty easily. That's my favorite over prop for this upcoming season.
I love it, love it, love it. Excited for the new segment this year from Andy and Ariel. We're going to see them each and every week on the NFL Bet On It, bringing us best prop bets. We're going to take a quick commercial break. But when we see you, it's time for our best bets.
Isn't it refreshing when free really means free? Whether you're a WagerTalk customer, a Sports Memo customer, a fan of our videos, or even if you're not a customer at all, everyone can get this week's edition of Gold Sheet for free. Enjoy write-ups and stat logs on every college football game this week to see the new and improved Gold Sheet layout for this season. To download, log into Gold Sheet's website using username free@goldsheet.com and the password free. No coupon, phone number, or email address is required. It's that simple. Come see why Gold Sheet has been this country's premier football betting newsletter for over 6 decades.
Welcome back to Bet On It's AFC preview. It's time for Marco's favorite division, and I'm going to save the best guy for that for last. So, Joe, you get to go first. Ravens, odds on favorite. Bengals, just a short space behind. And then you've got the Browns, and then Marco's Steelers. I do like the Ravens here to win this division. I expect this Ravens team to actually go into the playoffs and maybe make some noise. That is if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy. And that is my big if with some of these futures bets. And tell the audience how you handicap your futures bets and how you really decide, okay, this is worth laying down my money for 20 plus weeks.
There's very little there, Cal, that makes me excited about tying up my money for like 6 months here, and like you got to be kidding me. So you got to really be confident in the team, and you also have to be very confident in the lack of variance, because that's what we're always trying to avoid here, especially with future bets, right? The what ifs. What if this guy gets hurt? What if Lamar, misses 5-6 games? Do we still trust this team if they lose, especially their quarterback? How much faith do you have in the coaching staff, right? How much faith do you have in the backup quarterback if they got to miss a game or two? So you got to be really, really confident if you're going to tie up your money for long term anyway, as far as season win totals or championships or those things. But when it comes to this division, I don't get the Ravens love, man. I just don't. And Kel, I think you nailed it. The Ravens are going to be an enigma because I don't trust Lamar Jackson to be standing upright and under center for the entire season. There are going to be stretches where the Ravens are probably going to have to survive without him. And I don't know that I have all the confidence in the world for that to happen. I mean, they're well coached. I get it. But ultimately, everybody knows what Lamar brings to the table, right? Who exactly is he throwing the ball to again? A tight end? So what? They're going to run over everyone by throwing it to Andrews? Like, I don't understand the fascination with him. I do think that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and I think that that Bengals team last year, the one that went to the Super Bowl, although lost it, but that team there, while there are some question marks, I think that the elevation to the next level is coming for the Cincinnati Bengals. And more importantly, I think the elevation of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon. I think that's coming. And I do think the defense is certainly good enough to be able to take this division. I can't believe I'm going to say it, and I'm sure Marco will probably not utter these words, but don't sleep on the Steelers either. I'm just saying it. And I'm just saying, Marco, there are going to be opportunities to back the Steelers this year with Trubisky at quarterback. I think getting a great number and plenty of value. I'm looking forward to getting those spots and situations with the Steelers where people have already stuck a fork in them. I'm not doing that. I think they're the wild card in this division. But until further notice, I ain't buying the Ravens. I will buy the Cincinnati Bengals, but don't sleep on your Steelers, Marco.
Listen, Mitch Trubisky cannot possibly be as bad under Mike Tomlin as he was in Chicago. That's just apparent. I don't know if I'm buying this Bengals hype. I asked Ralph to find me some good stats about Super Bowl losers, and I didn't have anything that I really loved, and there was no real reason for me to fade the Bengals per se. But we do know that they won several games last year that they might not have supposed to win. It's such a slippery slope to say, well, they weren't supposed to win that game. And they did. They definitely superseded expectations. And I'm wondering if they aren't due for just a touch of regression. Marco, this is your division, so I'm just going to let you run wild here.
All right, I got a lot to say. I agree with most of what Joe said, except where he started. And, he just trashed the Ravens. Joe, where have you been for the last 2 decades? It's been Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Okay, last year, Cincinnati jumped up. When was the last time a Super Bowl loser came back and had a great year and returned? I'm not buying it. I am going to look to Baltimore. I am one of those guys that is on the Baltimore bandwagon. And why not? And you cannot start a season trying to handicap if a guy is going to be healthy or not. There's just no way you can predict that. Yes, he got hurt last year, and yes, it hurt this team. But even with him hurt, this is a team that last year had 6 losses by 6 points or less, okay? I think 5 of them were by 3 points or less. The one loss that was by 6 points was in overtime. And I think I was on them plus points when they lost in overtime by the touchdown. But the injury situation last year was a cluster injury situation. It wasn't just Lamar Jackson. Several of the games last year, 2, possibly 3, if I remember correctly, John Harbaugh made decisions at the end of the game based on he didn't think he could win by going to overtime. Okay, you always kick the extra point, go to overtime. You don't try for 2. But he honestly did not feel he had enough healthy bodies to go into the overtime. You can't expect that to happen again. And Baltimore, next to the Steelers, is the best run organizations in this division. Now, I badmouth Cincinnati. Yes, they're going to be good, but this is a team that jumped up last year out of nowhere. Granted, it's because the second year of Joe Burrow, and we're looking at the changing of the guard, but this is still a perennial losing organization. They only had 4, 2, and 6 wins the 3 previous years to last year. Let's see them do it for a couple years in a row. Now, let's talk about the Steelers. Yes, I think the Steelers drastically were undervalued coming in, but this preseason is a race stat. The Steelers went undefeated in the preseason. They're ready to put Kenny Pickett in the Hall of Fame, here in Pittsburgh, and he hasn't played a down yet that means anything. Yeah, his numbers
Listen,
were
be nice to
sensational.
the
He did
local
everything
kid. He
correct.
played college there.
But he did it against defenses that weren't blitzing. They weren't game planning. Come on. And then he did it against second and third units, the first game against fourth units. Mitch Trubisky will start the season, barring injury or him completely being a flop, will be the quarterback this season. Mitch Trubisky, I've never been a fan of. But you know what? In being realistic, look at what the coaching staff was in Chicago. That was a complete shit show with Nagy there. I think under Mike Tomlin, and the guy still has the streak going, he has not had a losing season as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Think about that. All these years. Now, big drop off, but what Trubisky brings to the table that they didn't have last year. He's got an arm that he can go downfield. Ben really couldn't go downfield last year. Most of Ben's yards were yards after the catch. He had receivers that got open and made those short, immediate range passes into big gains. And he's mobile. Ben can't move, all right? We had that element out of the game for the last 5 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to open up a lot of things for defenses to have to game plan for. I think Pittsburgh is a live sleeper this season in this division. But for me, it's all about the Baltimore Ravens. I made a play on them to win the division. I'm going with the Ravens. Cleveland, we didn't talk about them. And how can you? Jacoby Brissett, you're going to be looking at him for most of the season. That really doesn't get me excited about Cleveland. Cleveland has the pieces there to be a playoff team, but I don't think they're going to get there with Jacoby Brissett. So there you have it. Baltimore to win, and Pittsburgh is a long shot to make some noise, and you're going to find some good spots with Pittsburgh as an underdog.
Marco might have just given me enough ammo to make that Ravens bet right along with him. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, that's right, we're going to talk about that AFC South.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.
Welcome back. It's time for the AFC South. Matt Ryan, new quarterback in Indianapolis, and they are now the slight favorite here, minus 125. Most books to win this division. Titans not far behind, and somehow the Jacksonville Jaguars are only 7-1, and then there's the lowly Houston Texans. We left Cleveland out of the last one, Marco, and I kind of feel like maybe we should just leave the Texans out here. But I'm going to kick it to you. We'll talk about Davis Mills a little bit. We'll see what your thoughts are on this division. This is not a division that I spent a significant amount of time on because I thought everything was priced pretty right, and I didn't disagree with the bookmakers.
Oh, Kelly, I think that this is one of the best divisions to play. Tennessee's been the team for the last several years, but I'm not a Ryan Tannehill fan, and we saw why. When was the last time he won a big game? Okay? He just doesn't get the job done. And the Indianapolis Colts missed the playoffs last year because they couldn't beat Jacksonville on the final day of the season. How many people were pulling their hair out with that one last year? But in comes Matt Ryan. And I know he's at the end of his career, but you know what? We saw this same Indianapolis Colts team just 2 years ago with a worse quarterback, in my opinion, with Phillip Rivers, with that noodle arm that he had. He came in here and took them to the playoffs. Matt Ryan is much better than Phillip Rivers, in my opinion. And I think this Indianapolis team is going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to win this division. And because this division is so bad, other than Tennessee, what do you got? Houston's a non-factor. Jacksonville's a non-factor. The Indianapolis Colts will not only win the division, but they may end up with the second best record in the AFC because of the schedule. They got a softer schedule because they missed the playoffs last year. I'm taking the Colts to win the division. That's an absolute play for me. But you know what? You want to take a long shot flyer? How about, a little bit on them to make it to the AFC championship game and win it and go to the Super Bowl? You're getting a hefty price there. That's what I like to do with futures, where I can get money back. So for me, Colts win the division. That is an absolute play for me. And, sprinkle a little bit on them to win the AFC because they could have the second best record because the other divisions are so much better where they're going to knock each other off.
Joe, I understand what Marco is saying about Ryan Tannehill, but this Titans team has knocked off a few primetime home dog winners for me, and I don't want to bash them that much, okay? I still believe that Ryan Tannehill is fairly serviceable, but that's just because Mike Vrabel's his head coach. I'm not sold that the Colts should be the favorite here. I understand they brought in a veteran quarterback. He's still the guy in my brain that blew a very sizable lead in the Super Bowl. So, Joe, help me make sense of this division, and if I'm missing out, I'm putting my money somewhere.
Cal, I love it because you just said it. The guy who blew a very sizable lead in the Super Bowl, now on a team that blows sizable leads in the division every damn year. You got to be kidding me. Matt Ryan as a Colts, you might as well just bring back Carson Wentz. I mean, give me a break at this point. Don't trust the Colts. They, unless they're just going to, hand off left, hand off right, and the running game is going to be great. I don't think this is going to be as runaway as a lot of people think. Now, are they good enough to win this? Can they win more than, 10 games, 11? Absolutely, they can. I have no doubt about that. However, I'm kind of like with you, Kel, in the spot that Tannehill and Derrick Henry, that combination, availability throughout the season, and that defense, which I would not sleep on for Tennessee. I know they got some questions with the wide receiver and maybe some of the offensive line, but man, oh man, if Tannehill and Derrick Henry are in the starting lineups here for most of this season, oh yeah, that defense improving with that coach, I think Tennessee might surprise a few people here. It's not a huge surprise given the fact of the history over the last couple of years, but I do think people think it's going to be a down year. I'd slow down on that and just crowning the Indianapolis Colts this division winner. But I will say this, all right, you want to take a flyer. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be 1,000,000 times better than they were last year. Doug Peterson is exactly what the Jags needed to do in order to be able to elevate their franchise quarterback, and I think they will. I think they won't be handing games like they did last year, much like the Steelers. I think Jacksonville is going to find themselves in spots this year where you're going to be able to back them at a fantastic number, and they will win games outright as a dog here this year, simply because the perception is they're a hot mess. I don't think they're going to be a hot mess anymore. So I think Jacksonville is the key to cashing some dog tickets this season in that division. But the Colts, number one, don't sleep on the Titans, though, this year.
All right, we are going to wrap things up with our last commercial break. And when we come back, it's time for those best bets.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet On It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Pretty funny. I was just talking to the guys during the commercial break, and I realized besides that 25-1 in the Super Bowl, I have almost no futures bets in the AFC. Every single one that I made was out of the NFC. Very strange, but I'm going to go first. And I just logged into my Barstool Sportsbook account, and the Broncos are up to 10 wins. 10 wins in the AFC West. Marco said it. Joe said it. This division is going to cannibalize itself. Where on planet Earth is Russell Wilson going to get 10 wins from this team? 8 wins? No problem. 9 wins, you can win the division. 10 wins? I think at worst, we push here. I know I grew up a Broncos fan of sorts, but I am not letting that cloud my judgment here. I cannot believe the books made it to 10 and getting a little plus money on that under still. I'm going to take it. Marco, what is your best bet in the AFC?
Well, I talked about it in the last segment, and that is the Indianapolis Colts to win the AFC South. And my esteemed colleague Joe disagreed, and he threw up the name Carson Wentz. Well, you know what? I like to throw up when I hear the name Carson Wentz because he cost the Colts not 1, not 2, but 3 games last year by himself with idiotic interceptions inside, deep in his own territory. And Matt Ryan's not going to do that. This team is going to be better this year. You've got a veteran leader. And you know what? You guys threw Matt Ryan under the bus for that Super Bowl loss. He wasn't calling the plays, okay? They stopped attacking. That's not Matt Ryan's fault. I like the Colts. They win the AFC South. Easy peasy. Take the Colts.
All right, Marco, now you're going to make me ask. I didn't know you were this high on the Colts. Are they worth a sprinkle to win the Super Bowl?
Oh, I said it whenever we did it. Apparently you weren't listening. I said that with their schedule, they're going to get the second, they could get the second best.
All right. I'm sorry. I've been thinking this chair since
Where's
8 o'clock
VR?
this
Bring
morning
him back.
on Frank videos. For all of you at WagerTalk, if you guys do not go like and subscribe, jump in the comment section. All of my hard work today without eating any food. I feel bad.
I got
Marco's
Joe
correct.
disagreeing with me.
AFC South
Kelly not
segment,
listening.
he is right.
Come on.
I was ordering a little bit of food. I'm not going to even lie to you guys. I apologize, Marco. Somebody can edit this out, surely, but Joe is going to make it leave there because he cannot stop laughing. Joe Raineri, what is your best bet in the AFC?
Well, first, Marco, congratulations on being Matt Ryan's PR person. I had no idea he hired you. That was fantastic because, calling it plays or not, he still choked it up. Listen, Cal, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We started this whole shit show originally by talking about the AFC East and the Buffalo Bills. That's where I'm going to end it, too. To me, it was the first bet when I got into Vegas a couple of weeks ago. I love the Bills to handle business in the AFC East. I think this is the year they take that next step here. So I'm not buying the Dolphins. The Jets is laughable, and the Patriots are going the wrong way as far as I'm concerned. So it's the Bills division, and that's about as close to a solid thing, but maybe even a little more solid than Marco's Colts and his fandom for Matt Ryan. I like Josh Allen just as much. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC East, and maybe even a little sprinkle there on the whole AFC division championship as well, because it's probably going to be played in Orchard Park.
Okay, gotta love it. Marco D'Angelo at Marco in Vegas, Joe Raineri at Joe Raineri on Twitter. Make sure you're following both those guys. And again, please subscribe to our WagerTalk YouTube channel. We are so close to 100,000 followers. And I know Johnny Detroit wants that really dorky plaque for his desk. It's like super important. I should just have him one made. That being said, jump in the comment section. Make sure you guys head over to that same WagerTalk YouTube channel and check out our NFC preview. Both will be finished tonight. Cannot wait for football season, you guys. Each and every week, hanging out with me, Marco, and Joe here on Bet On It. We appreciate you. Good luck. Until next week, let's bet on it.